Nelson and Kaneki. Oh man, goes in, gets the Death Blossom, takes out 3, and that should just be it. Shy's taking a nap at the moment. Yeah, it's just gonna go ahead and start ticking up.
Not easy as well. I mean, it's Mandu having to put it in pack and steal pretty slowly. Now play coming on the road. Pretty good so far. Needs to get a few more slashes.
Yeah, does manage to take that gesture. Right click's coming out. Fits fighting for a little bit longer than you might have anticipated, but does fall in the end.
And he knows he's got primal though, so he's fine.
Oh yeah, he's trying to juke out the sleep start, it would look like here. Deny the entrance into
beautiful.
the spawn room. Yeah, juggles MCD around. Perfectly done by him. Second here for now, but as they continue to advance, they are just slowly plowing their way through the Seoul Dynasty. Have gotten the first point lockdown, but they're going to give this up pretty quickly here as they continue to just bleed numbers. Rank gesture now being taken out, and yeah, that is just going to be Guangzhou Charge taking this away with relative ease.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Overwatch League. We're here in the East region, and we're going to go on to our second series, Jaws. Chengdu Hunters versus the Guangzhou Charge. We're going to bring you guys the action for the rest of the day.
Yeah, so the rest of the night, technically, I guess, for us at least. If you're in Europe right now, you're just rising up from your slumber to catch some mighty fine Overwatch. Yeah, it's the Charge and the Hunters, Vicky. It's going to be exciting. We saw a little bit of a different look from the Hunters yesterday, Vicky. Taro Cookie, who's just joined the roster, stepped in. He's going to be starting for them today as well.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see how they're going to be able to incorporate Taro Cookie and how they're going to build into that synergy. You know, Taro Cookie, he's here promoted from Team Chaser to the Overwatch League on a 2-way contract for the Hunters. So they have to keep that into consideration when it comes to building up this team. Currently, you see the starting lineup here. Aside from Taro Cookie, it's going to be Leave, Ameng, Late Young, Farway, and Nisha.
Yeah, Ameng starting in the roster as well. Gaga came in this season just explosive, blowing every other tank out of the water. So having Ameng in is a little bit of a shock to me, honestly. We've seen him a couple of times before here and there, but Gaga's performances have just been above and beyond, I think, what Hunters have kind of experienced in the past. So maybe they got something special with Ameng. Of course, known for the Wrecking Ball a long time ago, or what feels like a long time ago at this point, and when Ball wasn't really played a whole bunch. So we'll see what they want to bring out. And there you go, Taro Cookie on the DPS. I'm excited. Can he make a massive impact? He didn't have a great showing yesterday, but that could all change today.
Yeah, and looking at the other side here, we got the Guangzhou Charge now. The 8-man team, as I see them, you know, being able to stand out here with Eileen, Choisewan, Krong, Rio, Kariv, and Mandu. Kariv also just having such an outstanding performance. I mean, the Sandman on Ana for a reason here. But looking at the way this series is going to play out, Jaws, after seeing yesterday unfold with the Hunters, what is your opinion here? Going into this upcoming matchup, what are you expecting? Because, you know, these two teams, they haven't seen each other, if I recall correctly, in almost a year now. It's been since last July.
Yeah, not recently, that is for sure. I mean, yesterday, Kariv was struggling just a little bit. He was trying to carry his game on his Ana, yeah, but he wasn't having that much of a good time.
Yeah.
That's also a lot of focus fire. Normally, you want to focus fire down the supports first, of course, take them out of the picture, and then your whole team has a lot less survivability and sustainability to stay in the fights for longer. And we're also seeing Choisewan too. His echo was ridiculous over his first few debut games, but he's been stuck on the May. A little bit disappointing, not gonna lie. Would rather see him frag on the Echo, but his May isn't bad whatsoever. But it's been Eileen, the linchpin of the Charge, that has just been taking over games, and that's gonna be the main focus, I think, for the Hunters, trying to contain Eileen, trying to contain Choisewan as well. But that's a bit of a heavy burden, really, for Taro Cookie, if you think about it. He's only just come into the team, and this is his second time playing on the roster, and he's going up against these Goliaths in Eileen and Choisewan. Leave and Jimmy have just been so crazy for the Hunters, and really been not also linchpin again, but they've really been the best performing players on the Hunters team. And is Leave going to be able to kind of guide Taro Cookie through this series? Because I really worry if he's going up against Choice of One and going up against Eileen, Taro might struggle like he did yesterday.
And look at that. The Hunters have never won any of the maps in this set here currently versus the Charge, so that's something to take into consideration because things have changed here. And after the performance that we've seen from Charge yesterday, I'm excited here, Jaws. I mean, they're going to be able to carry some of that momentum now going into a new day. Already starting things off here, looking at this roster. They're going to be diving right in. It's going to be Rio who's going to take this roof. He's going to make sure that they're not going to have control here. The Hunters already trying to make their way over to the point. They're just trying to find the skirmishes, but it's going to be the Hunters who find Mandu here, and that's a great start considering the Charge now. They wanted to get that position advantage, and unfortunately, they're going to get booted out of that.
Well, that was a really nice pick there from far away, picking off Mandu to start off with, and then Karib died as well, almost instantaneously. Nice little reset now for the Charge. There's Among is in spawn trying to deal with Choice at one. He should be able to get picked up though. I mean, you force the recall and Leave can just hunt him down. So that burns off a little bit more time. Choice at one definitely should have just died or tried to regroup back near the spawn. He's wasted a fair bit of percent here, and that's every little bit of percent matters on Control, Vicky. The first team to cap the point normally ends up coming out on top, just the way you're able to roll on with your ult bank. You can see already 30% before Charge can actually re-engage with their dive comp.
Talking about re-engaging, it's going to be Rio who's going to take a lot of that damage because of this Discord orb, but it's going to be Leave with the pulse bomb. Choice of One putting in some pressure onto Tarakuki in the back, but the fact that they've lost Rio here could spell doom. Now Krong's demeched, and that's going to have to be another reset here, considering that we have the Hunters now trying to take their way, and it's Nisha with the Valkyrie. They get the res, and I love the way that we're currently seeing the Hunters play so aggressively. Not only did they win that first team fight, but now they've been able to waste so much time away from the Charge. They're going to be able to dive back in, though, with the EMP, looking at Eileen and Choice of One with the Pulse Bomb.
Yeah, Mandu's under so much pressure as well. You saw him have to fade away fairly early, and Leave was chasing him down. Leave carrying that last fight, though, with the Pulse Bomb onto Rio. And of course, there's no resurrection on the Charge side either. They haven't got that Mercy, so a main tank going down that early is disastrous. Eileen setting up with the EMP, though. This could be big.
Trying to get an angle right here, trying to get right behind, tries to isolate Faraway, as Faraway could get the Transcendence for this fight, gets the hack anyways, but you currently have Leitna, who's right there to help heal for Faraway. Nisha's out, and they're so fixated on the backline. And then, now being able to get the minefield, try to block this rotation from the Charge. Eileen's still holding on to that Pulse Bomb. They've lost Prong and Choice of One, and they're still going to be able to pull the trigger on it, but they didn't isolate far away, and that was the crucial key here, because now the Hunters are going to stay in this fight, and it's already overtime, Jaws.
Yeah, OT's ticking down as well. A perfectly timed Transcendence from far away. It looked like the Charge had thought the fight was won. Karim managed to pop the Coalescence and find a kill. And they thought, well, hey, maybe if we don't use the EMP here, we can kind of snowball this. But it ever so slight, they were like losing the threads in an old jumper that you find under the cupboard. And the problem was that you don't activate the EMP, you don't isolate far away, and then it all kind of unravels and just falls apart. One person gets picked, the second one gets picked, and the Charge just don't really know what to do with themselves. And then Eileen's panicking, he has to throw out the EMP, but far away with the perfectly timed Transcendence. Was right in the middle of the EMP, but hit it just in time, saved the rest of his team, saved himself, and saved the round as well.
The fact that Late Young, too, was right there to help them out. Far away, was able to get enabled, get protected, and avoid Eileen. Going back in, though, it's going to be the Charge, bringing the same type of composition, and highlighting Nisha on this Mercy has really helped keep that sustainability alive for the Hunters, because they have that res to get back into the action.
I just huddling around the spawn, see what they want to end up picking up. Okay, so they're going Relieve Torb, which we've seen a couple of times before. I do kind of like Torbjorn on this map. There's quite a lot of long sight lines. You can have your turret sit, and you can also put it right at the back here. Your Zenyatta can sit on top of it. It's an extra layer of protection. They know Charge are going to run with these kind of dive comps, so going with the Torbjorn to survive the dives, hit that overload, and just that shotgun as well, straight to the face of the tanks can be a little bit more punishing, a little bit more damage sometimes than you expect coming out from such a stout character.
Especially when you have to also deal with the Discord. Rio got annihilated, and so did Faraway too. Yeah, Faraway making sure Eileen is just not in this fight, being able to get that charge on those orbs. Now, You can see how confident they're playing now. Josh, look how far up they're pushed up, and they're going to be able to back off in time, but I like how they're trying to rotate through this because they're going to be able to build into this next set of ultimates while you currently have Eileen still trying to find a way to get that EMP on.
Farway is 10% away from that Transcendence. Take it back, he just got it. That was a meaty right click on somebody. Mines get laid out from Ema.
And he's so consistent too. Meanwhile, choice to one, he's trying to get into the back line, trying to find a pick with this pulse bomb. They got to deal with Leaf's turret though, overlooking the point, so much pressure. They utilize a lot of ults here with the minefield and the coalescence. Late Young gets the mechs. Choice to one finds the pulse bomb. Now it's the opportunity for the Charge to take control over this point. The Transcendence from Farway is going to keep the rest of Hunters sustained, but it's not going to be for long. They're dropping, and they're dropping quick. Look at this pressure, and now the sound barrier is going to keep the Charge in this fight, but they have to deal with the molten core, and the sound barrier is already done.
Yeah, the soundbar faded away, but luckily half of that molten core did get eaten in the end. And most of the Charge are able to dodge out of the way of the damage as well. They do manage to cap the point, but they're going to exit the point rather rapidly. The Hunters might just be able to get the instant flip. Farway is down though as Rio finds the kill.
Look how close it was. They managed to contest right on time. The Diva Bomb now with Farway out of this fight. It's just up to Nisha here for the sustainability for the rest of the Hunters. Taro Cookie has that Deadeye. You want to look out for that, but it's a Primal coming in from Rio, finding Leave and Nisha, isolating everybody in that room. Now it's Taro Cookie's turn, but he doesn't want to overextend here. He already got 3 from the Hunters, and they're going to be able to even up this control point in terms of percent, 61 to 55.
Yeah, and they've got that EMP online as well. They know both Nisha and Farway haven't really been in this engagement. They haven't really had a lot of chance to actually build up these ults, so Eileen's going to have a pretty free EMP. That is a very cheeky flank.
Ooh, and he found Farway too right at the same time. That was an amazing engagement from the EMP, followed up by the Charge. They're trying to make sure that they get this gap far away from the percentages that the Hunters have landed themselves in and are ready to charge, looking a lot better.
Yeah, he surfed over that one, did a little bit of tech. Nice instant team kill. And now the Hunters are on last fight territory. A very early Coalescence. They're diving straight into the backline.
Yeah, the Coalescence now going to help enable this dive, keep Rio up alive. Choice of One popping up with a 3K. Okay, we got our eyes on you, Choice of One. They're going to be able to take control over this point, but somebody's contesting here. They almost copped. They almost were able to take that point. Not for long, though. There's nobody else trickling in. They're trying their best to stay alive, but they do take that second point. The Charge now evening things up for this first map, Jaws.
Yeah, perfectly executed dive from the Charge. And it brings to question, too, Among on the Wrecking Ball, what is he really doing in a lot of these situations? It's hard for him actually to go for this full-on engagement, Vicky, because you're running into Eileen, who's just going to hold out the hand, right? Go for the hack, and then you're basically useless. This should be the 3K. Oh, it was just him finishing a couple of people up after all that damage. Still looks fancy regardless. Ooh, Nisha bonked on the head. He's going to be feeling that one tomorrow. And yeah, it's very hard for Amang to actually do anything. He wants to dive it, or he wants to. It's really just Charge diving into them, so he's not really diving into anybody. He's kind of rolling around. But he has to be very conscious of Eileen and even Choice to One, who's kind of tagging him down. If you were on Orisa or something like that, it might be a little bit better. Just help the backline a little bit more, you know? That's what's getting killed first. Farway is just getting jumped on time and time again, just getting owned.
I just feel like the positioning from the Charge has just really allowed them to elevate their gameplay in that second round. Diving in, though, and taking a lot of damage is Rio, thanks to Ameng, who was actually able to get on that backline far away, finding Rio. He's not going to be able to do much to create any space. Karib took a lot of damage, too. The point is going to go in favor for the Hunters first. They're going to have to regroup here as the Charge. They're going to back off. And Tanisha getting that quick boink onto Krong, too.
Yeah, Vicky, that was actually super unlucky. I don't think Krong thought that Nisha actually hit him there, but look at Nisha's ult charge. 70% on that rally already. A lot of Krong's health bar actually just landed in the drinking. He basically gave it to Nisha. That's a fantastic whip shot. It's going to propel them forward for this next team fight. They want to go fast. They can't survive too long against the Zen. They make their engage.
And Rio is the first one to die in that engagement. Choice one unleashes the pulse bomb, finds Nisha though with the melee, now popping off, finding Taro Cookie. great look here as the Hunters, despite losing 3 of these, it's going to be Choice of One who wants to try to take control over this point. Kriv leading the way for the rest of the charge to get that flip. They need to contest quickly though, Jaws, because you see the extension with this lead from the Hunters and nearly already at 50%.
Choice of One's got his game face on right now. He's had
him.
so many individual kills. They're forced to actually pop the rally to try and do something about this fight. Nisha giving everybody a whole lot of armor. That should end it. It was a very scrappy ending. And honestly, it was kind of lucky that Nisha died fairly early on. He comes back with the rally while the rest of the charge were trying to regroup and take over the point. That rally armor was way too much for the charge to handle. They're going to be able to come back with 2 support ultimates of their own, however, in that sound barrier and the coalescence. Again, they want to go quickly. Eileen's so close to this EMP too. A sound barrier straight into this EMP might be good, or even better, a coal into the EMP would be even better.
Now they know too that Eileen was in their back lines, has the EMP now that they have to look out for. Farway's about to have the Transcendence, so as long as Farway avoids Eileen, it's going to really help out Hunters stay in the lead, push this into overtime, because currently the Charge haven't even been able to flip the point. The Sound Barrier now is going to elevate this. They're going to be able to utilize these ultimates after they use that Coalescence already. Farway trying to hang out in the backline. They're diving him. The Transcendence now is unleashed. That was amazing timing too. He saw Rio, he saw that Rio had blood in his eyes, and he knew that he had to pop that Transcendence there. Jaws, Choice of One, still unstoppable by the way. He's been able to literally tear through the Hunters, but the fact is they haven't been able to flip this point.
No, they haven't. Now Farway is in trouble though. They're still being juggled on this point. They need to get on. Lei Young has that self-destruct. He sends it out. Choice of One kills the pilot Diva, and he is still alive and kicking in at this point as reinforcements arrive for the charge.
Oh, that timing with the recall too, not only to avoid the Diva Bomb, but to also make sure that Lei Young won't be in this fight. Can somebody stop Choice of One? Despite the charge actually getting the flip for this point for the first time in this 3rd round, he's been unstoppable. He's been such a threat onto Hunter's backline.
Choice of One is unbelievable. I want to check how many deaths he's had after this round. Feels like he's had next to no deaths at all. He's constantly in the backline, constantly trying to distract the support. Self-destruct gets thrown in, and Crawl kills 2 instantly. That'll be the end of the team fight here, as Hunters have to retreat. They've got no choice really. They're lucky they've got OT. But that gives a whole bunch of time now for the charge to build up toward this EMP, build up towards this next sound barrier as well. The Hunters in a bit of an awkward situation. They got their rally coming online soon, and this will be a good opportunity to use it. Mine's come out first though.
Eileen building up into that EMP, getting some hits in. Nisha with the rally that's going to start the engagement here for Hunters. Tar Cookie now finding Kriv's head. That's big after the sound barrier now has been popped by Mondu. Rio taking a lot of damage, but it's only up to Mondu to help them out, to help that sustainability. Look at the way they disengage her. That was really good timing, but they got to get back onto the point because it's OT here in favor for Hunters.
Yeah, the turret's on the point as well. It's going to be so annoying. The 7th man on the field, the true summoner, that is the Torbjorn. Nice EMP, lands on 2.
Yeah, hits Tar Cookie and Nisha. Taro's going to go down without using that Deadeye. Choice of One has been harassing this backline. It's insane, actually. The fact that he already has a pulse bomb on after just having it, misses that sticky. That's big because Nisha is going to be able to build into this rally. Now the minefield coming in. Among just trying to get into position. No one touches the point. The Molten Core creating so much space. The Hunters, they take the first map of the series.
Wow-wee. Okay, Tar Cookie looking pretty good on the Kree there. Definitely one of his better heroes for sure. He actually managed to take out Mandu, or Kriv, sorry, while Kriv was using Coalescence. A Discord orb from far away, a body shot and a headshot takes out the cold. That's what you want to see from your rookie that's just been promoted.
You love to see it. Hunters now leading the way, but the Charge are putting up such a good fight, specifically Choice of One, who's been able to pop off. We're going to be able to see more of the action on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
Heroes never die. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. While the Hunters are leading our series here, Jaws, we're going to see a bit of a change and a swap-up getting ready for the second map. As we look at the Hunters, this is a roster that has a 12-man team, so they have that luxury to swap things up.
Yeah, they can just swap the whole team almost, it feels like. I like the big rosters, I really do, but sometimes switching out whole chunks during a series, not the best idea. Like, you want to build that cohesion more often than not, but Hunters definitely seem like the team to do it. I mean, we've seen a whole bunch of DPS changes, like every single series, it feels like every single map with Jimmy and Lee kind of rotating in, then Kaneki, of course, also recently, and then Taro Cookie, of course, now. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they want to run. It's going to be Eichenwalde as our next map in the series. It's going to be no changes from the Charge, surprise, surprise. But man, Charge looked great in that first map, but Choice of One clearly couldn't carry hard enough. The guy was on fire. It was ridiculous. His Tracer was absolutely stellar, but it was the front line of the Hunters just shutting down Kariv and Mandu time and time again. Even Taro Cookie just imprinted his name on the back of Kariv when he killed the Coalescence at that second to last fight on Mecha Base. That, just insane. When your Coalescence getting shut down by a Kree, of all things, you're sitting there like, okay, well, like, one of the easiest ults kind of charge in the game, but it has such a massive impact, hence why Moira is played in these kind of rush style compositions. But when it's getting shut down like that, you lose so much of that momentum, Vicky.
Yeah, even with some changes going into this month's set, the Coalescence still charges up pretty quickly, and that's what really helps out a lot of those dive engagements that we had seen from the Charge. Although looking at the other side, Jaws, you could see that the Hunters were running that anti-dive composition. They brought out the Torb, the Molten Core too, controlling so much space. It's intimidating too, but that's just what you gotta do to make sure the Charge now have to readjust. While they were able to readjust in that third round for our first map, the Hunters now have swapped things up, and they're bringing in these different players now that have these different play styles that now the Charge have to readjust.
Yeah, it looks like Jinmu is coming in as well in replacement for Taro Cookie. And that signals to me that they want to play something like a Pharah, maybe. A little, or maybe a long-range hit scan as well. Of course, with hero pools disappearing for this tournament too, it does benefit quite heavily the Chengdu Hunters roster, I feel, especially their DPS line. Looks like Among is actually taking a backseat as well, so wholesale swap up for the Chengdu Hunters, a brand new game. And it sometimes can throw a lot of teams off guard, honestly. Like, you get beaten with this anti-dive composition like we saw on the Mecha Base with Leave on the Torbjorn trying to harass down Choice 01, trying to stop him from doing all manner of things in your backline, to now something completely different. Sometimes that can throw you off your game completely, or it can flip the opposite way around, Vicky. It can be quite telegraphed. You're like, okay, we know Jinmu's coming in, we know Monk's coming in, and we kind of, now we're feeling maybe Nisha back on the Mercy, we're seeing Jinmu up in the skies on the Pharah. Sometimes it can be quite predictable like that. But the issue is, I feel, especially for Charge right now, they're only showing really one dimension. They're showing that dive, the rush, the Winston, the Diva, the Lucio, the Moira. We want to kill you really fast. We want to run at you, build coal, use it, and then just decimate your front line. They're using the Sombra to quite good effect as well, but not anymore, I feel. Eileen's definitely a sharpshooter, so he's probably going to back on something like more of the McCree if we don't see a Wrecking Ball in this next map.
Yeah, and with the swaps that we're seeing from the Hunters, obviously map dependent, seeing that we're going to be moving on to Eichenwalde for our second map while our players get ready. You highlight Jinmu coming in, and, you know, Jinmu being one of the best Pharahs, I would say, in the league, being able to be that flex DPS that the Hunters need to throw the Charge off their game. Yeah, I definitely could see Nisha as well coming in with the Mercy, giving in some of that support. They have those high angles to navigate through those roofs, so that way they could put on a lot of pressure onto the Chargers' backline. So we're going to be looking out for that now as we get set up on Eichenwalde.
Eichenwalde. One of my, I guess, first bosses for when I was doing Contenders a few years ago. Dennis. Unfortunately, not with the company anymore. Dennis was one of my favorite human beings to exist, and he always made sure I pronounced Eichenwalde correctly. So I got him to thank for that.
That's such a Dennis thing too, because every time he tried to get me to say it right, it just wasn't happening. I don't know if it was just Spanish not letting me, you know. It's like I was always like Eichenwalde, and he was like, no, please don't do that again. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm done here.
I promise. Just let me keep my job, please. All right, let's have a look. Who's on the defense? It's going to be the Charge, and so a completely different flavor from what we saw in the Control. As we do see Choice One once more stepping back in onto the May. I would love to see him again on the Echo, but this May composition with the Kree, it's just so much defense. They can really punish these slow-moving tanks. But if you look at the Hunter side, what are they doing? Well, they're playing super long range. Jinmu up in the skies. Nisha with a damage boost as well. Gaga and Elsa are going to help each other and help Leave get in and out quickly. Just trying to poke down people with these rockets and then jump in on the isolated targets or the targets that are chunked down. Problem is though, with Eileen taking your mech that early, that does stop a lot of this aggression now the Hunters can throw at them.
That's why you saw the Hunters back off, minus Gaga just trying to intimidate the Charge, force them to split some of that attention. He's diving in, but not for long, when you have so many people focusing down on you, taking so much pressure. Meanwhile, Jinmu and Nisha are still providing a lot of that pressure. Eileen taking a lot of damage. It's ultimately up to Eileen to deal with the threat that Jinmu is, but they also have to deal with Nisha all at the same time.
Dealing with Nisha is kind of annoying, but I'll tell you who is annoying to deal with, Leave. The problem is, right now, Leave, the EMP is going to be the best tool that they have to try and crack this defense wide open. He's only got 50% on his ult. When is going to get opened up from Kariv? Is he going to be able to find too much? I can't imagine so. There's the rocket barrage instantly killing off him. Killing him off.
Karib too, yeah, just in front of the window too. Karib is out, and that just leaves Mondu with the sustainability. But without this sound barrier, it's gonna be so difficult. The anti too, Choice One with the Blizzard kill onto Gaga. Eileen now putting in a lot of pressure. As Nisha's here, they will be able to have the res. But for how long can Jinmu get away with this? Now that Eileen won't be here, it's just really up to Karib to do anything. But he won't be able to do anything at all because currently the Hunters, they're already gonna be able to move this payload.
Jinmu is ridiculous. You see his player cam there as well? The guy's playing with one hand, Vicky. He's playing with one hand. He's just dominating currently.
Well, I was confused too at the start.
Gets a nice little double kill on the far push all the way forward. They didn't even use the EMP as well. So now the Hunters, what they can do, they can just sit up on the high ground. Monk can solo push the payload. 6-man EMP though.
Oh, finding 6. That's absolutely huge. Choice One's not even in this fight anymore as Elsa dives in, takes him out as the first one in this fight. I like the sustainability that we're seeing from the Charge. They're forced to disengage here. Meanwhile, the Hunters have a clear path to move this payload.
Yes, they do. Beautiful EMP. I don't think the Charge really expected it to be used that early. But again, they can take this super high ground position. Jinmu is going to be very, very safe. There's a lot of structure you can hide behind if you are taking shots. But now look at this. Charge swapping up once again. Full dive straight into the backline, trying to pick off Monk. They're going to have a good job getting to him, though. Choice One's on top of him, but he's going to use the nade in defense.
Monk has to be careful, taking some pressure here. Jinmu has that rocket barrage, finds the turret hit onto Moundu. Okay. Choice One also finding Monk. They trade supports here. Karib wants to build into this coalescence, but you won't have the opportunity when Jinmu, again, is uncontested and dealing so much pressure.
Yeah, he's put both hands back on his keyboard finally, and yeah, you can see how much work it's doing it for him. They are so close to this second point, and like you mentioned, Vicky, how are they actually going to deal with him? Sometimes it's like, okay, we just ignore the fire, kill the rest of the team. There's going to be a beat to charge them forwards. They kill off Monk, and Leave goes down as well. They finally manage to stop the payload. Oh, not today, Elsa.
Almost. Yeah, they're forced to back off here. Talk about Jinmu now at his full power with both of his hands on the keyboard. I like the way that Charge now were able to retake that. You see Choice One trying to get on the back line. Gaga had nowhere to go. He was unfortunately sandwiched there. It's going to be a reset for the Hunters.
Yeah, complete reset. They are trying to find Leave. They know he's around somewhere. But look at the ult bank for the Hunters. And then look at the support bank for Charge. Yeah, they've only got Cole. They need to use this fairly early to try and win a fight to make sure Mando can build up towards this beat, but it's a little bit too far away. There's Choice One. Nice pulse to start off the fight.
Yeah, Monk, unfortunately, was just not expecting Choice One to go in. The res is going to keep Monk alive, though, keep him in this fight. Also taking a good chunk of damage while Nisha was so busy getting that res onto Monk, so the mech won't be here. They utilize so much, though, at the same time, they will be able to come in with those minefields and maybe get a follow from the EMP, but that's tough here, seeing the fact that the Charge have finally gotten their footing on this defense.
Yeah, they're pushing into the spawn though, Vicky. Monk is going to go down eventually. The Charge should just back out here. They don't want to feed too much ult charge over to the rest of the Hunters. He should change over to Brig, yeah. So this is probably the best choice he could have made now, as Jinmu is changing off the Pharah to the Reaper. Just, again, pure anti-dive here. If you jump past, we're just going to shotgun you, we're going to flail you, we're going to whip shot you, we're going to bash you, etc, etc, etc. And hopefully Rio will end up dying. Problem is, though, with the ability to just Primal Rage, yeah, your backline's going to look rather vicious.
Oh, but when you pop that Primal Rage, yeah, you have that health, but then that EMP coming in from Leave, Rio Sports out of the situation. Look how much damage he took. Luckily, he could get right back into the high ground, regroup with the rest of the Charge, waiting for the opportunity to isolate Elsa, who has that Diva Bomb. Gaga, too, gets hacked, can't even use the minefields just yet, gets out in time. Look at this, Jinmu now being able to have impact on the Reaper swap, but Choice One is still terrorizing the Hunter's backline.
Yeah, terrorizing indeed. Nisha goes down, Leave to follow as well. Should be almost a win here for the Charge, you feel? Especially with the supports falling. Yep. There you go. Oh, sorry, the Hunters. Sorry, with the Hunters even. Sorry. Of course, they now complete point number 2. 2 minutes on the board as well. They got Transcendence coming up too. Leave changing out. Yeah, okay. So I really like this. The Sombra here is meh. Really meh. Changing over to the Green is going to be a lot easier for you. There's a lot less ability to charge the EMP. Speaking of EMPs, though, Eileen's going to want to go fast. Oh, he's saying right on top of Monk.
Oh, and Monk trying to get away. You saw, yeah, he caught Monk with that. Transcendence won't be able to get built. Now they can, though. Eileen gets out of that situation. What? They didn't get much off of this. It's going to be Leave who gets Caribbean. The Death Blossom has been unleashed from Jinmu. They lost Gaga in that fight, but the Transcendence is going to keep the Hunters rolling, control this next corner, and look at Jinmu's positioning. He's hanging out by their spawn. He wants to isolate Choice One, and he gets him still in the process. What a way to make a statement here.
No way. Karev is having the worst time right now playing Moira. Gets killed a second time during Coalescence, Vicky.
There's no fun zone. No fun zone if you're Karev. Meanwhile, Jinmu jumping in from the skies. Rio goes down. Won't even be able to build a shatter for this potential last fight. Krong is trying to hang on to this point. Gets the Diva Bomb pick onto Nisha. The Mortality Field actually helped keep the Charge on this point uncontested. Currently, the Hunters, Jinmu's still unstoppable. No one stopped Jinmu, whether it be on the Pharah or on the Reaper. He's still terrorizing at their spawn. These Discord Orbs, too, don't make it any better. The Charge are just taking so much damage.
Yeah, just, you have to get the Reaper in that situation. Yeah, their recent patch made him stronger, basically. I mean, he gets more lifesteal now as well, so he's even more sustainable. You have to kill the Reaper in that situation. Problem is, though, he's got the survivability tool in the Wraith form as well. Oh, man. Jinmu just went to town at the very end there. Oh, like I mentioned, Karev. Oh, there's the 6-man EMP, everybody falling out the door. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Karev, yeah, not having a good time. Second time he's been countered the EMP with the Coalescence online. Like, that cannot happen. I was already surprised the way the Charge actually initiated that fight, because it was them who initiated first. Eileen sent out the EMP. He managed to catch one key target in Monk on the Zen, stripped away his shields, couldn't end up following that up with an actual kill. He then went for a manual hack on Gaga, but they didn't use Cole. They didn't push around the corner with the Coalescence or anything. They were quite happy with maybe picking up a kill onto Gaga, who had been hacked, but it was all on Nisha. Flail straight back on the Sombra, so you couldn't get the final few bullets onto Monk, and then they just couldn't and didn't really manage to follow up onto Gaga at all, even after the manual hack. It was a confusing set of affairs. Now we'll see how Hunters do on their defense. I was switching over. A little bit more protection in the skies now for Leave, and Jinmu and Gaga. Just these bubbles are going to be so useful. I can't dive in with you, Gaga, but I can make sure you're a little bit more safe by throwing a bubble onto you, so hopefully you don't get burst down. However, bursting down a Wrecking Ball, especially without a Zenyatta, is going to be fairly tough anyway. Oh my god, Chosen One almost got right-clicked by Monk.
All while trying to get into a good angle here. Meanwhile, Jinmu on the back line doesn't want to get shield bashed, just does a good amount of pressure here and gets away in time, just wants to build into that EMP. With Rio going down first here, this is not how you want to start off your attack if you're the Charge. Now they're forced to back off in the situation, but I like this different approach we're seeing from the Charge here, Jaws. They're just trying to go for something different, especially since what we've seen happen to Kariv. That just was unfortunate. The Coalescence just didn't do much, so they're going to try the engagement with a Nano Boost instead on Rio.
You see the spy jet there from Leave using his focusing beam, just whipping it around, just trying to find the Sombra. Engaged though. Rio might be in trouble here. No bubble now from Kronk.
And Rio has a Discord Orb on them. Kronk taking a lot of damage too. Karib's gonna be able to build into this Nano Boost though with all that healing coming in. Just trying to find an angle. It's gonna be Leave who's gonna try to get some of that burst damage. He gets out of that situation right before he gets hacked. He's like, all right, I'm backing off here. Currently, they have to keep their eye on Choice of One, who's in that building. He can get into those backlines, continue on a lot of that pressure. We've seen the Nano Boost now, the engagement for Rio. He jumps onto Monk. He's out of this fight. The Transcendence won't be here to help save the Hunters. It leaves it up to Nisha for the sustainability, which may not be enough here. Look how much damage Gaga and Elsa are taking, but look at the disengagement too. They're just trying to get an angle, but they gotta touch the point. They want to get anything going. Lee finds that pick off the Choice of One, and then the EMP was the weight that they needed here. The Hunters now re-engaging. Leave getting another pick. They trade that for Leave as Kariv finds him. Rio has a primal and he's going to be able to pop it here. Jaws, the Charger try to hold on to this point for as long as possible, but I can't believe the Hunters have actually been able to come back from this.
Yeah, the rally's going off as well, so there's no way you're going to be able to kill the front line or the back line of the Hunters. Yes, somehow, some way, they managed to survive. 1 minute and 40 seconds does remain, though, for the Charge. They have an EMP and a grab of their own. Eileen gets instantly taken down. That will spell the end of the team fight now.
Wow.
And they luckily got a couple of ticks there, right? I mean, one clean EMP, clean grab should just be enough. EMP into a grab, and if you really need it, use the nano on top of it as well, but ideally not. Monk is going to have to dice with death as well. EMP and grab, which one is he going to choose? Here comes the rally to start the fight off. Everybody building up a lot of that armor. You see the target, It's going to be Monk in the back line.
And Rio too, now trying to dive in. Choice One trying to get a follow-up. The grab coming in. Fights for, looks Kariv is the first one to go down before even utilizing the Nano Boost. Rio gets hacked, and Monk with the Transcendence is going to keep the rest of the Hunters alive here, Jaws. And once again, the Hunters, with their positioning, they've been able to essentially sandwich the Charge. Their disengagements and then their re-engagements have helped them out in these last two fights immensely. Hold this defense.
Oh my word, the Hunters are looking so good. An amazing grab from Elsa and then the perfect follow-up from Leave. That focusing beam, sometimes it's quite hard to track targets that are jumping all over the place. Well, they're in the grab, so they can't move anywhere. Instantly, Kariv goes down, and then, like you said, no nano boost to sustain. Another EMP, it hits
EMP
4, Vicky.
4, and Rio goes down immediately from Choice One, following up on the pulse bomb. Now Eileen gets the EMP, this time also finding 4,
10
with
seconds.
Monk being the first one to go down. This is the opportunity for the Charge now to make their way over. The Hunters, they're retreating, and Gaga getting 2 with no support. It's looking grim here for the Charge.
Yeah, Eileen needs to touch. She does manage to get it as Rio comes back in.
Oh, Chisuwan, not in this fight. Nobody here to touch the Tracer won't be there. The ball won't be there. And the Hunters now have taken another map in this series, putting them at match point.
Wow, wow, wow. The Hunters are blowing up the Charge. Oh my, I did not expect this coming into today, honestly. I should have probably set up the expectations a little bit better at the start of the series, Vicky. I thought it was going to be slightly close. I thought the Charge had the edge. I just knew Choice of One had just had such a good game recently. Kariv has definitely struggled just a little bit, but Eileen and Choice of One have been the backbone for the Charge. But the Hunters, they're not giving them a moment's rest. Kariv is not having a good time at all on support. He gets perma-grabbed. He gets killed out of Coalescence over and over again. Jinmu Leave. It doesn't matter who you put in, Vicky. I'm going to be real with you. It doesn't matter. The Hunters, they're going to do well.
And the Charge, too, after their performance yesterday against the NYXL, I actually think the NYXL is the only team that the Charge have been able to beat this entire season, and that was the NYXL twice. So, you know, coming out of that win, I was honestly expecting the Charge to pop off here, at least bring some of that momentum into this series, especially since this team has such a good record against the Hunters. But right now, the Hunters, they have other plans. We're going to go on to a map number 3, and that's going to come to you shortly on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Summer Showdown Qualifiers presented by Xfinity. Currently, we are at match point for the Hunters, Jaws, and they are looking fantastic in this series against the Charge.
Yeah, they really are. They really, really are. The only round or I guess small dub here for the Charge was the second round of the Control, the very start of the series in Busan, but other than that, Vicky, they've just looked a bit absent, honestly. Choice of One has been a standout, always seems to be, but other than that, not really many signs of life for the Charge right now. They need to step it up into gear. Route 66 is going to be our next map on the table, and no substitutions for the Hunters either. So, same kind of thing? Probably. I'm a little bit gobsmacked. I thought this would be a little bit closer. I really did. We saw Tara Cookie a little bit yesterday. We saw him at the start of the series as well. I wasn't like super impressed by him. He wasn't like popping off like Choice One did in his debut game. And he comes in, performs pretty well. Like his McCree, definitely one of his better heroes, was able to kill Kariv during that coalescence. Wasn't taking over the game by any means, but was performing extremely admirably. And then guess who comes in? Well, it's Jinmu. And he gets pocketed by Nisha. And then Jinmu just claps. You know, like it's so difficult to find a flaw right now in the Hunters gameplay. And the Charge, they're struggling to do just that. They need to get their heads in it, Vicky. This is it, their final stand.
I think the one thing that helps the Hunters stand out in comparison to the Charge is the fact that they have so many of these players that could cover all these different angles, and then basically forcing the Charge to readjust around that. We saw that the Charge heavily favored that dive composition, and they constantly get shut down. They made some of those adjustments, but it doesn't seem like the Charge have a solid foundation right now when it comes to synergy. I feel like the team, yeah, Choice of One is popping off, but it's just the Charge, they looked different yesterday. They looked like, all right, we're finally establishing that relationship, okay? And now we're going to be able to move on, get some of that momentum, carry on going through that next series versus the Hunters. Meanwhile, the Hunters are like, what time is it? Speedrun time? All right, well, you know, Eichenwald was excited.
Chengdu o'clock. We're ready to rock and we're ready to roll.
Time to hunt.
Yeah, legit. I mean, honestly, right now, the Hunters, I got a feeling they're just going to steamroll this next map, honestly. Route 66, it's a bit of a tough one. We see a lot of first point holds on Route 66. Can be quite tough to attack sometimes. And the way Jimu's looking, especially on the Farah, are we going to see anything different? I don't know. If they just keep on this, I'm not sure the Charge are going to be able to come up with answers. You got to remember, too, Charge did end up starting out the map on Eichenwalde with a Reinhardt, just a classic kind of Reinhardt composition. And
That's
then
true.
when everything went a little bit downhill, a little bit topsy-turvy, they did end up switching back to this dive comp with the Moira, with the Monkey, and with the Diva. And then what did Jinmu do? Well, he changes to Reaper. And then Nisha and Monk back on the Zen, Nisha on the Brig. They got the perfect peel, one Discord. Jinmu clicks you a couple of times, so does Leave, and the rest is history, really. Like I said before, they got a lot of answers for the Charge are bringing out. Looks like we're going to see Hunters on the defense first here. And they're going with the safer backline. I think this is a much safer option, by the way, Vicky, when you roll out the gate on the Brig and then on the Zen. Especially on a map like this. Normally you have to invest a fair few cooldowns to try and dislodge the supports on the high ground. There is a cheeky thing you can do with Reinhardt and characters that don't have super mobility. The cart's rolling around at the front of the gas station. You can jump on top of the payload, then jump on top of it onto the sign. But good luck getting there without actually moving the payload all that way. So Monk and Nisha sitting all the way at the back. Discord on to the front line. And they're going to be able to blow him up with the help of Leave. But another look here from the Charge. Double shield, mitigating a lot of that damage that Discord Orb can inflict.
I like this different approach, and with Jinmu on the Sombra too, you can really see Jinmu getting some of that intel, being able to retaliate some of that information back to the rest of the Hunters. Meanwhile, Gaga also just trying to wait for the opportunity to maybe get an environmental kill if the Charge feel safe enough to go to the right, but Leave is the first one to go down. Leave already clicking heads. All right, sending the rest of the Charge back towards their spawn. Look how quick they were to disengage. That was a nice reaction, but look how quick the Hunters were to get aggressive.
Well, actually, like crouching tiger, hidden panda there in the bushes. They were ready to just pounce on the Charge as soon as they rounded that corner. I don't think Eileen expected all that damage coming his way. I just saw Lee pop his head out, go bang, bang, see you later, mate, hats on the floor, go straight back to the diner, you know? Like, that kind of proactive engagement is exactly what the Hunters need to stop a lot of this double shield setup. Krong's actually changed on to the Diva now, realizes that he might need a little bit more protection with Gaga and Leave just destroying your front line.
Also, being able to get to these high ground places is crucial. Jinmu getting that fall from the Discord Orb onto Eileen. Eileen goes down and so does Mandu. And look at this position from the Hunters. They're being lethal. The Charge, they really can't do anything. They can't even control this corner. Lee takes a lot of damage. Oh, he contested that for a long time. You saw the attempt from Elsa to try to tank some of that damage, and now they're forced to back off a little bit.
Yep. Luckily, they do have this EMP coming up. And Leave is going to be able to get back. He's got High Noon, although sometimes it is a press Q to die button, unfortunately. Or choice of one, yeah, you see almost instantly the defense matrix bathed in. Oh, wow. What? Okay. Very early Transcendence here from Monk.
Not too sure what. I mean, Leaf does get that pick onto Eileen, but we saw that Choice of One wanted to get an angle with this Pulse Bomb, and now knowing that Monk had already utilized that Transcendence, it's an open season here for the Charge as they're going to get some of these ultimates on the Bob. The EMP
Big
now
EMP.
coming in from Jinmu. That's huge because now Leaf is going to charge all the way in. The rally 2 from Nisha. That's going to give armor over to the Hunters. Now they can push all the way up here, Jaws. They're being so aggressive, but they were able to get Elsa out of the mech, and the Bob's going to finish off the job.
Yeah, also with a really nice pick there, trying to snipe out Kariv as he was so low backing away from that EMP. Choice One did find one again with the Pulse Bomb. That's the story of this series, Vicky. Choice One finds these picks, finds these really nice picks. On sometimes heroes that are supposed to counter him, like the McCree. Then the rest of his team can't really follow up. They're going to be able to go again, but Gaga's got the mines. Mandu's rally is going to have to be rather large and in charge. They go for this engagement once again. Rally's been popped.
And Krong's been hacked here too. The Immortality Field already used up by Kariv. Kariv gets out of this fight as Monk finding so much damage coming in, but talking about damage here, Josh, Mandu making sure that flail is going to keep Leave out of this fight. That's 3 down for the Hunters. The Charge have been able to regain control over this point, but they have to clean up around Gaga if they want to see any success in catching that first point.
Yeah, they got it off. It's all good. There's no way they were going to be able to get back in time. They needed Nisha there, or maybe a Monk with a Transcendence. There wasn't really an opportunity for Gaga to stay alive. Now they can go for another early engage. Ideally here, if you're Jinmu, you want to wait for the doors to close before you EMP. Everybody's kind of trapped in this very small room. Oh, Jinmu gets found out though. Nice bit of spy check in there. And now Leave can set up on the side. So they're basically waiting for this door to close before they go for this engagement. Great space though with a window.
Ooh, the 5-man EMP. Eileen's out and so is Kariv. Meanwhile, Krong's taking a lot of damage. Nisha finding 3, gets that 3K. That's a great follow-up from the Hunters. Now they've been able to take control back over this payload, hold this defense, and now they're going to have this high ground to work with to put that pressure onto the Charge.
Yeah, the EMP as well, by the way, shatters the window coming out from the Batiste, so they couldn't even kind of dance around that to do damage to the onslaught the Hunters are bringing them. Now Kariv switched over to the Zen. They've got a Brigitte and Zen of their own, want to burst people down. There's the bomb. Supercharger comes out as well. Gaga evaporates.
Ooh. Yeah, Gaga got hit by everything right there. Although Gaga still pulled the trigger on the minefields at least. The rally now from Nisha trying to help keep the Hunters up, but with Gaga now having to come back from the spawn and Elsa going down, they're going to have to reposition. Choice of One is going to unleash the Fury, and the Charge are going to have a lot of that space to work with in this next corner.
Very, very nice. Gaga, yeah, can't really expect a lot of that damage. That Supercharger, Bob, and everybody else kind of shooting at you. Was a little bit too much to bear. Mardu's going to have another rally online. This is perfect for this, especially for this final engagement. It's going to be up to Hunters here to try and stall out for long enough to maybe for Jinmu to build up towards this EMP. But if Charge are very proactive here, a little bit more difficult, yes, with the Orisa, but they can force Krong, Eileen up into the high ground and make sure that rally hits them, and they should be armored up enough to sustain any of this damage coming out from Gaga and Leave.
Oh, Gaga trying to bring that fight over to Choice of One on the high ground. Choice of One's going to have this Pulse Bomb online. Mandu with the rally is going to allow the rest of the Charge to pull all the way up. With that armor now, Choice of One now trying to get into position. Doesn't have the armor, but he's going to be able to come in from the high ground. They're just trying to isolate some of the Hunters. They're dropping like flies here, Chaz. Choice of One doesn't even have to utilize that Pulse Bomb because they've already gotten the second point.
Yeah, there you go. Mandu did use the rally in the end. They were all up on the high ground. Gaga and everybody else were forced to try and use use mobility cooldowns to get on that high ground. Jinmu didn't have enough time to set up that EMP, and they managed to kill off Gaga before he did any more damage. And now they have a nice little forward position. Problem is now Jinmu actually has the EMP, so they're a little bit worried for this one. Kariv dancing with death. He's way at the back. He's on the mega health pack as well, which you can use for a little bit of cover. He's going to wait for Jinmu, but Jinmu knows exactly where he is.
Look at this position that the Hunters have now taken. They've swapped sides with the Charge. Meanwhile, the Supercharger get tagged. The EMP has found 3, and the Transcendence, as Karif is safe, keeps the rest of the Charge alive. That's huge here, because Jinmu is one out of this fight as the Bob finds him. Marks that target, the rally. Is it enough here to keep the Hunters alive? They're not engaging here because they've lost Monk. They trade that for Krong. And the Hunters are taking too much damage here. Despite losing Mandu and Karib, though, Leave is popping up. He gets a 3K. The fact that Leave still was able to get a huge impact there, finding the support lineup of the Charge, has just flipped this back into the Hunters' favor. That was honestly down to Leave and Nisha at the end.
Yeah, unbelievable. He actually uses the high noon cancel as well to get a reload on his gun. Earn himself a 3K. Can't really stop the payload for much longer though. Rio and Krong were very quick to come back to the point. The spawn points are so close for them. 30 seconds does remain. Very holdable for the Hunters now, Vicky. Gaga's got the mines. He's going to ready to jump in here with Jinmu, but Jinmu has to teleport back already. They're going to be able to chase him down. He's so low. Pog's bomb thrown out. Choice of One almost explodes himself. But somehow Jinmu stays alive throughout that whole thing.
And Gaga was right there too to help out Jinmu just in case. Gaga takes some damage here, pops those minefields. Toy One trying to get into position. Look at this angle now that the Hunters are taking. They're trying to get behind, but no one's there. They're not on the point.
Are you kidding?
The Charge? No way. No way. Not like this. They were so intimidated. The pressure from the Hunters, I mean, they wanted to get a different angle to re-engage, but they just took too long, Jaws.
No way, man. You can't even blame it on the mines. If you're the D.Va in that situation, you almost have to tank those mines for the sake of the rest of your team. Oh boy. Gaga threw himself in. The mines came out, but separating the Charge from the payload. And then the Hunters had a really nice rotation, knowing that Nisha was actually... No, sorry. Knowing that Mandu was actually off onto a side room on the mini health pack on the right-hand side. They knew he was there. He can't walk through the mines. He's probably swinging at him, you know. Proccing Inspire, yes, but it's going to take him a long time to actually clear them. They were able to run him down, but yeah, all the meanwhile, Krong wasn't able to touch. And yeah, sad state of affairs, honestly, at that very end. If they just survived long enough for the mines to be taken care of, they might have been able to win that one just off the back of the support ults they were able to generate. But there you go. That is where the payload ends. This will be the final round of this map. Could be the final round of the Series 2, with Chengdu Hunters being on match point. We'll see what they want to do on defense, or offense, sorry. Seeing Charge with Eileen behind a shield, shooting people as Ash. There's nothing more I like seeing.
And having Rio with that shield to hang behind, that's going to be some pressure that the Hunters are going to have to deal with. But, all right, Elsa going back to the D.Va. Gaga back on that ball, seeing how well that Gaga is able to put on a lot of that pressure, just rolling into that Charge lineup. We're going to see some swap-ups, though. Nisha on the Mercy, right back again.
I don't know why he's... leave. Okay, cool. I was going to say, I don't know why you'd stay on the Mercy there if you're playing Widow. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but this makes 100 times more sense. Damage boost on the Ashe. Eileen hasn't got that damage beam, so playing a little bit more safe. That is a manual hack actually onto Choice One. Doesn't go down though. Double pocket from both Mandu and Karib to keep him in that fight. Lovely stuff from the Sports.
Oh yeah, and Eileen also finding Leaf's head. With Nisha right there though, Leaf is going to get back into the action. Jinwoo's trying to terrorize that backline by hacking Rio, but Choice One with these follow-ups and having that support from both Mandu and Karib. This positioning from the support lineup of the Charge is really allowing Choice One to pop off. The pulse doesn't land on anyone, but you currently have to take your eyes and put them on Jinmu, who wants to get this EMP online for the Hunters.
Ooh, nice bit of dynamite damage done. They're finally pushing the payload, but these halts have been so good actually from Rio. As soon as Leaf peeks out, Holt just comes flying straight at him. You want to dodge out of the way, but unfortunately, those little tendrils will pull you back in, and he gets headshot by Eileen. Nice little movement here for Elsa, though. He's put himself on the payload. He's hiding under the gas station right now, but not for long. Choice One's going to chase him away, but burning the recall early just leads him to go down. Monk with the hands at him, and that is what they were looking for. The boot off of the high ground, forcing the Transcendence at Karib. Eileen's going to try and stem this bleeding, though, with the bomb.
and with that Transcendence and Bob already used up here from the Charge, you can see the Hunters just trying to take a different position, trying to take them off of the high ground. The Charge are trying to keep that pressure on. Elsa taking care of the Bob Gaga with the minefields though, and it finds Rio. Meanwhile, Nisha's been getting these safe reses, and no one stopped Nisha just yet. Monk dies with the Transcendence and this Gravitic Flux, sending everybody up, sending Eileen down back to the spawn. Krong trades that for Gaga, the Diva Bomb actually finding him in a line of sight. The way now that the Charge are still trying to contest on this payload isn't going to last for long because the Hunters have now taken the driver's seat on the payload.
I'll have to double check on the replay, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy just hit a zero-man EMP. Maybe he hit Karib and instantly killed Karib, but it looked like a zero-man EMP on my screen when I briefly looked over at the Charge's portraits in the upper right. I'll have to double check that one. Nisha being able to survive in that situation as well, plus get the res off onto Monk, who was playing super aggro, was so critical there. I spoke about it previously, actually, Vicky, in our cast yesterday. If the Zenyatta is alive in these OT or like contesting situations just before points, the value Discord Orb gets just increases tremendously because the focus fire to take down one by one is absolutely immense. So any kind of damage amplification is just crazy good. So having Monk alive there was definitely the key to success in that point. Payload's moving on, and the Hunters have, luckily enough, taken a very forward position with Leave as well. This guy is so aggro, man. It's ridiculous, and he gets away with it too.
The Rio attacked twice? Oh, Rio can't catch a break. He was discorded that entire time, and Jinmu hacked him twice back to back. He needed some help, and no one was there. Now, you currently have the Hunters winning in having the advantage, having the number advantage, and Monk is popping off. You talk about the Zenyatta and the amount of damage coming out, Jaws. I mean, not only is Monk single-handedly doing that, but he also has that sustainability and that damage boost from Nisha. In combination to the Discord Orb, you're gonna get melted.
Oh man, that's why I like playing Zen, by the way. Definitely one of my favorite characters, because you can just 1v1 people. People don't expect you hitting a couple of heads, man, especially when you put that Discord Orb on them. Tanks, everybody else don't stand a chance. Tanks, speaking of that, Rio used that supercharger super early. Yeah. The Hunters won't even ram that corner. They're not going to get too much good use of this. EMP's going to come in rather soon as well.
It looks like they're just desperate here. They know they're so close to that finish line, to that white box. Choice of Wand finding Monk, though, he's going to be huge. The Transcendence won't be in this fight, but taking a look at the Hunter's ult economy, it's lethal here. Leave has now found Choice of Wand, and the EMP hitting Mandu. As Karib was out of that line of sight, Karib can use his Transcendence now to keep the rest of the Charge in this fight. Elsa now with the Gravitic Flux, and pressuring everyone back. Now they have some clear space to move this payload, and it's up to Real to stay alive. He won't be in this fight, and the Hunters want to clean this up. It's going to be a 3-0 for the Hunters, and they're going to be moving on after cleaning the Charge up.
Oh boy, the Charge looks so good on their offense as well, but the Hunters just bite back with such ferocity. Their first point, little bit shaky. Second and third, don't worry about it. My word, Monk is just a solo carry on the Zenyatta. Nisha too. The backline for the Hunters just seems to level up every single year. Just insane showing from them, honestly. A 3-0 against the Charge. I thought this series was going to be way closer. Karib definitely didn't have the game of his life, but at the very end there, in Route 66, felt like he came online, Vicky. He wasn't dying with Coalescence active on the Moira, you know? He was popping Transcendence at the perfect time. His positioning was just perfect, but there was just nothing they could do. Just the chaos factor of the Chengdu comp. It was just too immense. Gaga coming in on the wrecking ball, and Jinmu and Leave. Do I need to say anything else?
I think when we take a look at the Hunters after that series, I agree with you. I thought that this may have been a closer series. Although the Charge, again, they haven't been looking so hot this season. I felt like after yesterday, after such a great performance against the NYXL, I was expecting the Charge to kind of carry that into this next series. Now, seeing how the Hunters have been able to play that, I want to highlight the fact that that really primarily went down to the fact that the Hunters' position, the way that they disengage and then re-engage quickly, waiting out for that EMP2 on Eichenwald at one point while they were holding that defense, that really allowed them to elevate that gameplay. And the Charge, unfortunately, just used all their economy multiple times throughout that series where, unfortunately, they were just trickling in at that point, Jaws. And the Hunters now, they're leading the way. They're looking so good.
Yeah, they're looking great thus far. And our player of the match, presented by Xfinity, is going to be Nisha. It's not often we give it to a main support, but you gotta show him some love. The resurrections too from Nisha are just
so
perfect.
consistent.
Yeah, so consistent, and that's the key, Vicky. You got to be consistent on these resurrections, because it is pretty tough some of the time. I mean, he is finding these reses where almost seemingly no Mercy can. And normally, you hear that Mercy res, if she's not in Valk, a little bit easier to kind of take down. But not only is his Mercy good, his Brig as well. You can see the highlights on the screen. Being able to peel for Monk. One of the reasons why your flex support and your Zen player more often than not can pop off is because your other support is right at your back every single time you get dove. Like, Nisha is ready and waiting. Oh, Monk, you're in a little bit of trouble, buddy? No worries. Hits that flail. The whip shot sends people flying away and making sure he's protected. And so Monk can basically live in the heads of Charge rent-free.
Also putting on a lot of pressure onto Choice One, the player that was really able to do so much impact for the Charge too. And when you're Mercy, you're able to pull off so many of those reses. Meanwhile, like Choice One popping off, that's really hard. So you know what? No surprise here that Nisha is our Xfinity player of the match. Look at those stats: 22,000 healing, 5,553 armor provided. And just being able to have so much impact, 32 elims and popping off on that Brig. That's what I like to see. This Nisha is the type of support that I want in all of my games. Please.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I wish I had Nisha at my back when I was playing Zen, like all the time. Please. Every armor pack thrown my way as I try and challenge Widowmakers, challenge Ashes, challenge Tracers. You know what I mean? It's great to see Nisha performing, and it's even better to see it in the way he's providing support for the rest of his team. 33% uptime on Inspire, not too bad as well, considering what the Charge are running as well. These kind of static comps normally Inspire's a little bit more tough because you need to be routinely hitting things to make sure the uptime is there. So 33%, not too bad when you're running against the double shield. Yeah, what a perfect way to start out the joust, sorry. We're in July almost.
Moving on to summertime
Showdown,
jaws.
yeah. I keep forgetting. I honestly do, although it's getting like 1 billion degrees here now, and that's kind of bringing me back to reality, to be honest here. And it's my birthday next month too, which I'm not looking forward to.
Oh, that's exciting.
I don't like aging up. That's just how it be. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to receive like a birthday card with my age written on it. You know what I mean? And we'll have to skip over that one maybe.
Yeah, my back starts hurting too after I'm just on the computer for longer than 2 hours. It's just a reminder, you know, that we're not as young as we used to be. No, yeah, actually, it's super important, especially hand stretches. That's coming from me since I get really bad arm cramps whenever I'm on a keyboard. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for our first series. When we come back, it's going to be crunch time. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
welcome back everyone, and it's crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And after looking at the way that the Hunters just performed in our last series, Jaws, I have faith here. You know, they looked really strong in the May Melee. June Joust, though, it looked like a different team. Now that we started the Summer Showdown, though, and this is the first week, I have a lot of faith in this team going on to week number 2, where I think their next match is going to be against the Fusion.
Oh yeah, so do I. I've got a lot of faith right now. Bringing Tara Cookie was honestly great. Great showing from Tara Cookie today, playing on the first map of the series. I mean, Jinmu and Lee, need I say more? The biggest thing that's, I wouldn't say shocked me at all. It doesn't shock me in the slightest, to be honest with you, but Nisha and Monk and how consistent they've been as well. I mean, this team looks so good. And the Hunters look great too when they're playing their own game, when they're playing their own style. And of course, they were always known for that with Amon. Back in the day, playing the Wrecking Ball when no one else was. But they've kind of carried that through to this year, playing a little bit more meta with a sprinkling of Chengdu Hunters magic here and there. And they just make it work time and time again. They play their own game, they make the other team just run after them and question what they're doing, and they just take over from there.
Actually insane performance too. Between Leave and Jinmu, both these DPS players, so consistent on the Hunters. Now, that's going to be it though for our first series, Jaws. I mean, we saw an earlier series that Doa and ZP had casted. Now we're going to be moving on to the last series here, looking at the East region. The action though is just kicking up for the day. We have so much Overwatch League matches coming to you soon. Coming up next though, it's going to be the NY Excel versus the LA Valiant.
Yeah, we don't go anywhere, guys. See you in a second after this break. Quick break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
little bit catastrophic in the end. Milanron is over on the side, manages to find Flores, looking for another one from Friday. Gives him the melee hit. Rez will come through the before back into the fight. NYXL back over onto the point. Gonna be a nano onto Yakmo. Does get anti. He's playing around the bubble. He's keeping himself safe. He's not taking too much damage. But as I say that, there comes the beam from behind. Milanron, he gets the nano boost. They find the Valiant, and that can be the go button now for the Valiant to get themselves in onto point A. Playing Peel, and Bianca gets the eat on the Dragon Strike, takes that one away. Now Shochuk to be eliminated. Bianca with the self-destruct of his own, manages to find Milanron. Bubble comes down to protect Friday, ensuring they can put Bianca back into the fight. He will remech, and NYXL look great to be able to take this second round.
But Toby gets hit by the dynamite, and that's not how you want to try to make this engagement last when the payload is right there to take this first point.
Okay, Crystal is dominating now on this Ashe. Oh my word.
Welcome back, everyone. We're moving on to our final series here in the East region. It's going to be the NYXL facing off against the Valiant to close out the day here for APAC.
Yep. Vicky, I want to cast your mind back to yesterday and how Valiant did end up taking the first stage on Control. I'm still hoping, I'm still praying that Valiant 5 more maps this season. Maybe even the elusive W. We'll have to wait and see. NYXL, they've been looking pretty good recently, and a few different changes from what we've seen previously as well in their DPS lineups more specifically. We saw a lot of like pairings, as it were. We saw Flora come in with, let's talk about Ivy first. Ivy and Guangbong coming in on things like Junkertown with the dive, and then they kind of instantly switch out, and we saw them mix up completely. We saw a little bit of Ivy with a little bit of Flora the other day too, so I wonder what kind of flavor of NYXL we will be seeing. We are seeing Flora and Feather start out the day, but this has been the big question for me surrounding the NYXL. How do they end up utilizing their 4 DPS players? And I like the fact that they're going with these 2 pairings. Like I mentioned though, did see a little bit of a change up yesterday. Did benefit them in some ways, but this Flora Feather lineup has just been stupendous. Guangbong had quite a slow start to the season. I think his rookie season as well didn't show up crazy. We know his Widowmaker skills are definitely there, like they're on point. We know he can click the heads. It felt like he needed to shake off a couple of those nerves. So now he's got more reps under the belt. It's been interesting seeing him migrate to different DPS partners too.
Yeah, you talk about, how a lot of these newer players moving up to the Overwatch League and how they're doing, Flora 2 just being able to pop off. Now looking at the LA Valiant here, Jaws, we saw their performance yesterday. We have the same lineup here. Molanron, Crystal, Silver 3, Shou Chang, Wuya, Hybe coming in. We haven't seen NVM actually in quite some time. That's another tank that they could pull out, but when they have Silver 3 here trying to do their best on the Winston and Ball, we saw a lot of that improvement yesterday. Because I'm gonna be honest here, Jaws, after seeing the June Joust and how the Valiant were trying to make some changes here, it just wasn't looking so hot. It looks like they were trying to run the dive, but kept failing when the engagement just wasn't really going their way, and then they had to reset, and it's so difficult to try to come back from that. And now that they're going off against a team like the NYXL, the same team who took that win over them just our last series, it's so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it's super tough. Super tough, the Valiant. We talked a lot about it yesterday, Vicky. We did, and you referencing that they could bring in some other tanks, but Silver 3 had some silver linings in the clouds yesterday with a nice little highlight play, knocking a couple of people off the map against Spark. But the expectations for this team is that they're not really going to find a whole lot of success, but I've still got hope. I hope it's still there.
Especially in the APAC region. We've seen the craziest things happen here.
Yeah,
we talked about late night here, but
there's always room for upset. Always. Ilios is going to be the first map. Ruins, to be specific. How the NYXL roll out the gate. Looks like Feather's going to TP forward. Can't imagine he's going to stay on Sim. Probably just goes over to Tracer. Yep, there you go. Easy as pie. It's almost the same kind of compositions we're seeing throughout APAC right now, especially when it comes to these kind of long-range maps with a lot of tight corridors. We see kind of this tag team which we mentioned yesterday. Feather and Yukpong diving into the back, and Bianca and the rest of 4 players just trying to isolate someone and walk at them, basically. Showtime, Hybe, Crystal, Malaron. In fact, the entirety of Valiant taking a little bit too much damage there.
Ooh.
Crystal ends up going down first.
And now you're going to see the NYXL, they're moving up. They're forcing the Valiant to back off. They're going to try to re-engage with Crystal here. But Bianca being able to control that bridge, they're going to be able to control the point too. And the Valiant right now, they're going to have to go for that reset.
Yeah, it's very hard to actually dive that bridge area as well. There are a couple little exits. If you can boot them down onto the point, into the small little cavern, it can be quite beneficial to you. Ooh. Should be, yeah, nice. He actually gets away. Wow.
Wow.
I'm surprised Feather didn't spy check him there and actually get him out of cover. Oh, Monk's in trouble.
Oh. And Jonak too now coming in. Bianca's back in this fight. Gets hacked now too. Bianca was also discorded at one point. Hybe gets stunned. Jonak in a great position here, has a Transcendence, but now that Wuya had used the Transcendence first, they're funneled into that room, and Feather's just trying to get into position, has the Pulse Bomb, and now Wuya is in some trouble, trying to back up, but you won't be able to get away with Feather pulling out that Pulse Bomb. As Hybe is right there to help peel for Wuya, they're taking so much pressure because now Yukpong and Jonak are going to clean things up around the support lineup.
Oh man, Jonak at the brink of death presses the Transcendence button and manages to save himself and the rest of the team. Nice force of the Transcendence though from the XL, forcing Valiant to use theirs fairly early. Normally if you use the support ult later, it's more beneficial to you. You end up surviving a lot longer, and especially the Transcendence, like getting the Zenyatta out of dodge is very beneficial, especially if it's Jonak. NYXL, they got to watch out for this EMP. Solo EMP onto Yukpong. Yeah, he's dead. Goodbye.
Where was he gonna go at that point, right? And Bianca trades that for Silver 3. A ball for a ball. No Hungry Hippos here. Now, as the Valiant try to take control over around this health pack, trying to take this angle, they're not succeeding here. The follow-ups between these Discord orbs, Flora, Feather, Friday, popping off. The Valiant, no man's land now. They're forced to back off. They won't be able to even touch this point. And this is so difficult when you have Jonak in such a safe position here. What are you gonna do? Like those Discord orbs are so lethal.
Yeah, they really are. That rally really saved the rest of NYXL there at the very end. See the flashbang roll in there from Crystal? Flashbang both the Tracer and the Brig, but the armor was just too great for him to shred through with the right click. Oh man, not looking great for the Valiant to start us off with, but there is always hope. There is always hope. Remember, Vicky, remember, the Hobbits did make it to Mordor in the end. So
That's
maybe
true.
the Valiant can cross the land and find that elusive dub.
5, 4.
I love it. We're out here
You know
now.
what they say about me? Apparently I look like Pippin.
What? They
Yeah.
say that?
Do you think, how much do I resemble Pippin?
I don't think you look like Pippin, actually. That's interesting. I've actually
I'll
never
show
thought
you a
about
side
that.
by side later.
I did see that
You can
later,
see.
yeah. I know Excel though right now with the way that Jonak is playing in position. It's so difficult. We actually had to swap off the Zen and now is back on this Ana. And I don't know how this is going to work out too, because now Wuya is going to be on this backline with just Show Cheng and Silver 3 to help peel. Flora gets that first pick up to Crystal, but they have Hybe there for the res draws.
Yeah, they do manage to get Crystal back up and alive. I was about to say, if Valiant don't touch that, that's going to be a massive threat.
Oh, no.
Oh, Hybe caught out.
Oh.
Flora, I believe, body shot him there, and Feather was able to just follow it up with a quick couple of bullets to the dome. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, Valiant did manage to recontest as Feather was pressuring the capture, but it does turn out as soon as Hybe goes down, it's a little bit more difficult for the rest of Valiant to stay alive, and now they control high ground as well. And this should be a quite easy kill on Milan Run. No, he doesn't actually end up getting away. Hybe's doing a good job of pocketing him up into the skies. A little bit more difficult for Flora to take him out. Unless Milan Run is discorded, which he is right now, Flora's going to have a tough job.
That's a great first pick here for the Valiant, finding Friday. Jonak has a Transcendence, but this anti is going to help out Yukpong and Flora. They're forced to back off, and Feather has pulled the trigger on the pulse bomb. Shocheng taking a lot of damage. It's too late, though. Shocheng's already demeched, and Hybe with a Valkyrie to try to keep Valiant in this fight, but it's not going to work out in their favor. They were so close to flipping the point, but when you have Feather putting on so much pressure, what are you going to do? Hybe gets the res, so at least tries to keep Valiant in this driver's seat, but with Flora also uncontested, the Dynamite and the Diva Bomb now coming in from Bianca, Crystal's Bob won't have any impact. Bianca's popping off, and no one's done anything about Jonak and the fact that he can get these Discord orbs and a lot of that pressure with damage.
Man, it looks so good initially. They end up finding a pick, but yeah, they don't end up managing to secure the rest. Oh no!
Wow.
Did Feather actually get slept there as well as he threw the pulse? Oh man, that is. And they lose mech as well. Shocheng's just going to throw himself off the map. Yeah, this looks like it should be round. And Jonak just right-clicked.
What?
Jonak? Okay, bro. That's like a solo queue play where you line up the spawn doors and then just start right-clicking. I know that all too well. Wow, okay, Jonak kills Diana, and now, uh-oh. Valiant need to be able to get to point. They're going to be able to. Lucky Wuya does spawn in time, and he has got Nano.
And now with Malonron utilizing that duplicate, getting that Diva Silver 3, gonna try to get into this fight, but now they have to watch out for Pung and those minefields. That's gonna create a lot of pressure, stop that rotation in from the front doors. Meanwhile, Bianca's still getting a lot out of those Discord orbs as Jonak has been uncontested. It's gonna have the Transcendence soon. Friday with the rally here too. Jaws, the NYXL, they're tired of it. They're tired of it. Silver 3 is still trying to contest here. Or now he's gone. He's out of that fight. They burned him down. The Transcendence 2 from Jonak. The Valiant are still trickling in, but the NYXL, they're upset after yesterday, Jaws. They just want to be able to go through this series, get some of those points. They take the first map, and they're showing here. The Valiant, you won't get your revenge on us this time.
Yep, no way. That was a very definitive map number 1 for the NYXL. Well, Amron does always seem to have a little bit of a grin on his face some of the time in these matches, and you gotta respect him for that. I mean, it is tough. It is a tough situation. But there we go. NYXL, Vicky, they're a map up. We're going to jump to a break. We'll see if Valiant can bite back after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone, to the action. The NYXL are currently up a map versus the LA Valiant. Vicky Kitty here with Pippin, apparently, because I actually got to look up an image. And Jaws, I'm sorry, actually. You know, it does actually look scary about just like you. But how many meals do you eat a day, though? We have to. This is important. Do you eat a Hobbit meal here?
Yeah, no, probably not as much as
Six, I
Pippin,
think
Mary,
it's
and Pippin
6.
do. Yeah, there's no way I could stomach all that. Funny story, actually. Someone made someone called Uberchain made an emote of like my head, but Pippin's face like photoshopped over my face, and I was like, "Wow, that's a cool emote!" Like, "Oh, when did you make that? Like, when did you take that photo of me?" And I was like, "Wait. That's not me, that's Pippin." And Josh saw the same thing, and he said exactly the same thing. He was like, "Wait, that's not yours, what the hell?" It was so funny. So funny. Anyway, back to the present. Enough about that, how much I like Pippin. As we get into the second map of the day, or the series, sorry. Valiant, yeah, they did end up falling on Ilios, but you never know. They can bounce back maybe in this second one. NYXL still looking good, though.
They're looking really strong. I made mention of it earlier after their dominating hold on that second control point, but looking at the way that they're going into the series, of course, they were able to successfully and dominantly take the series against the Valiant earlier on. I believe it was week 8. So they're basically just replicating that now, you know, seeing how close their series was just yesterday against the Charge. You know here that the NYXL, they need to get more of these wins. They cannot drop a map here because they want all those points, especially seeing that they were so close just last month.
Oh, yes, indeed. And they did actually knock out the Spark in contention to the tournament too. So that was a very cool storyline. An undefeated Spark, only losing a couple of maps. Then the NYXL swoop in there and smack them down 3-1. They probably want that undefeated record themselves this time around. They're doing a good... they're off to not a bad start whatsoever. As we do head into Hollywood as our next map. Looks like we're seeing Valiant attack first. And we do see a couple of substitutions as well, or a single substitution, I should say. Guangzhou is coming in for the NYXL. So long-range hit scan is his specialty, so I can imagine he's going to be jumping on the Ashe or the Widowmaker. For Hollywood especially, if you're on the offense, I mean, the Ashe is probably a little bit more viable. The second point, a very, very classic Widowmaker point, so I can imagine that's why NYXL have brought him in. But
yeah, now seeing Guangzhou come into this lineup for the NYXL, trying to mix things up. It's going to be the Valiant starting things off on the defense. I like the look that we're seeing from the NYXL. Of course, we have to highlight always that strong foundation for the NYXL, Jonak. So consistent, not only with his positioning and being able to get those Discord orbs safely onto the Valiant, but the pressure from the follow that we have from the rest of the NYXL on those Discord orbs.
Nice, we have Friday on the Mercy as well, making sure the Valiant have to be a little bit more scared. Alarmron's actually on the Doomfist. We probably should have talked about that a little bit. Doomfist on Hollywood. There are some sick rollouts on Hollywood, by the way, Vicky. Just saying. Crystal's been found out. Oh, dearie me. He should be fine, though. Oh, no. Alarmron just rolls out on Jonak and just destroys him. Issue is, they do have a resurrection, but as you're not healing your Ashe, the Guangzhou ends up going down. So not a net positive for the Valiant, as Malamron's going to be able to get back to the point rather quickly, as he is Doom after all. A lot of mobility.
Well, there's a lot of that pressure too. You saw Malamron get melted trying to pull a little too aggressive into an aggressive situation. But talk about aggressive, Yapeng, he's on the back lines. He gets stunned, and then the follow-up, that's what you have to worry about. When you're Yapeng on that back line, you have to deal with both Malamron and Crystal stopping you in place.
I feel like Yapeng should switch. There won't be anybody for to really counter with, but a switch here from Yapeng wouldn't go amiss. because he is against Malamran. Oh, here comes the Nano Doom back. Goodbye, Jonak again.
Oh, they isolated him. He had him in his sights, and they've also found Yakpeng Wuya with that nano boost. I love the way that Valiant just played that too. They back off immediately, not wasting any time. Instead, they're just wasting the NYXL's time on taking this point.
EMP coming online as well for Floor as they do walk in. Looks like they only want to wait for ults. The best way to do that is just wait for the EMP. Yeah, Silver 3, he's just chilling, man. He's just trying to live his life, man, on the stairs. Please. All right, there's the ults. They're coming in hot.
There's an opportunity Friday also with the Valk 2, trying to go in with Fall from the bomb. Meanwhile, Crystal with a Deadeye, they didn't even go into this line of sight. They waited and played that so patiently. Meanwhile, while Silver 3 was off to the side, they caught him out of position. They dive in on him. Yapeng getting that pick. That's 3 down for the Valiant. And the NYXL have now moved in. You can see they're trying to regroup here, Jaws. Maybe trying to go for this hold by this next choke point by the gates.
Yeah, quick reset. More than beneficial. You don't want to give those sight lines away to NYXL. They're going to be using Guangzhou to kind of just snipe people away. Yeah, you see Silver 3 instantly taking all that space, but they got EMP in their back pocket. They know exactly where the supports are, and they're ready to pounce.
Trying to isolate High B2 that has the rally that can help them out, and he finds both supports. The grab came out from Shocheng in time, but not enough time to help the Valiant here, because Flora, with that EMP, has annihilated them. But talk about it with Silver 3. Okay, he heard us, Jaws. He heard us talking about him, finding 2, and now the Valiant could push all the way up. They don't want to get too overly aggressive, but this payload now is stuck at that choke point.
Where did Malamran die? Yakpeng's in the back line. He just died near his spawn, I guess? Okay, now Silver 3's going to be in a while to hurt. Yeah, Malamran's not going to be there to punish Yakpeng or anybody from the NYXL. That pick-off really opened things up. And now, like I mentioned before, you don't want to give the sidelines, you don't want to give the high ground away, because the Ashe, the Mercy, they're just going to set up there and start destroying you. And what they've done? Well, they've given it up, because there wasn't really any way they could punish it, because Malamran died so quickly.
I honestly was expecting Valiant to at least try to get the high ground position. Meanwhile, they just gave that to the NYXL for free. Look at this. Now Jonak is going to be able to hang out on this high ground. Have Guangzhou right there to help him out. Meanwhile, you also have Malamran getting this EMP. At least the Valiant have some of these tools to contest it. The Transcendence has already been used up. Talk about EMP, it's going to be Flora finding 4. Silver 3's out. Hy-Vee has the rally, but it may be too late here because Malamran won't be able to answer back with the EMP themselves.
Oh, nice. They're throwing everything and the kitchen sink, the conservatory, just everything at the Valiant right now. The Pydo being where it is, okay, that's painful. Double EMP on both tanks. NYXL, they've still got 1 tank alive, and Guangzhou doing what he does best, click heads and destroy your front line.
And Flora 2 just getting away with murder. The fact that they invested that EMP and they still lost 3 right here is insane. Now the NYX are going to take this second point, and Jaws, this time bank already 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Look at the way that Yapeng now is trying to get into position, pulling all the way up, and Flora's trying to get the follow-up. They find Wuya on Hy-Vee, that's both supports out. Shocheng's going to meet them in the spawn. Look how aggressive they're playing the NYXL. They're trying to speed run their way through this.
Yeah, they really are. They're creating so much space for themselves. And more importantly, this EMP as well. Oh my word. It's not quite a speed run, Vicky. It's only, what, 2 minutes, 50 seconds here, so you're good.
They got so aggressive. They pulled all the way up to their spawn, but the payload wasn't really making any progress, though. You can see as Silver 3 trying to get onto that point, the EMP to answer them, though, from Flora. They found Silver 3 because he can't go anywhere. He was trying to be sneaky by contesting that payload. Now, Guangzhou throwing out the Bob onto the high ground. That's going to force the Valiant from being able to pressure them from that space. I like the way the NYX are playing this. They're essentially just split up here to force the Valiant to make the decision on where they want to target to contest this payload.
Jonak got a little bit of revenge there. Crystal dove him in the back line. Speaking of dives.
Currently have right here Shocheng finding Friday. This gold support's down, though, for the NYX. Yeah, Jonak goes down, too, with the Transcendence. So the NYX they're gonna want to disengage here, especially since the Valiant are gonna have some of these ultimates to contest the NYXL for this engagement.
You see Hybe in that fight, just ran it down mid. He's like, just walks past everybody. I'm like, what the? Wait! Oh my! Whoa! Whoa! Okay, everybody chill, We're all good, That, that made my heart leap there for a second. So the invisible Summer, I'm like, there's no way he goes for this, right?
I feel like everyone just like looked at each other too, just briefly. Now look at the NYXL's position. They're on the high ground here. JJoNak has the Transcendence, Bianca with the Gravitic Flux. Floor wants to try to build into. Oh, Crystal, what? Wow, that's huge here, because now it's up to JJoNak to help out this engagement with that Transcendence, but they have to deal with Molanron and that EMP.
Only a minute remains as well. NYXL not going to be able to finish it over a minute, so the Valiant do end up finishing these 3 points as well. They will get another attack. Molanron trying to set up for an EMP. See him trying to communicate. He's found the Translocator as well.
And the Gravitic Flux to follow up after the EMP landed onto Silver 3 and Shocheng, but doesn't get much off of this. Floor gets shut down. Bombong is going to meet him in the spawn, and now we get to turn up for the Valiant because Shocheng is going to be able to display that, finding those 3 picks, and JJoNak is back in the